everyone, it's Alison here. I'm going to kick off the training class in a couple of minutes. I'm just going to wait a few minutes more because there are people kind of dropping in all the time. I just want to check that you can all hear me. So if you can hear me, if you could click the little hand icon, that would be really reassuring. Aha! You can hear me. Excellent. That's a good start. That's always a good start. Okay, while we're waiting for the last few people to arrive, I'm just going to put up a question. It would be really great if you could just answer the question that you see, because it will give me a good indicator of where you are in this whole book writing process. So I'm just going to put the question up now. So I'll just give you a couple of minutes. If you just tick where you are, that would be really good to find out sort of what people are thinking at the moment. Okay, thanks for that. That's really interesting. I'll show you the results, and then you can see where your vote fits in with everybody else. If I can work out how to do that. Close the voting and share it. So 78% of you want to write a book but don't know where to start. That's brilliant, because that's exactly why I'm running this webinar tonight, to give you a bit of a head start on how to get going with writing a book. So I think what we'll do is we will kick this off properly now. So before we go too far, I just want to go through a few quick housekeeping rules. First of all, if you've got a phone with you, I'd suggest you turn it off just so that it doesn't go off and disturb you over the next hour or so. If you've got any web pages running in the background, I know what I'm like, I'm dipping in and out of Facebook all the time, so I'd suggest you shut everything down. So that you can focus on the content of this webinar and you're not distracted by anything else going on around you. I will apologise in advance, I've got 3 cats wandering around the room, so if you hear any meowing, I'm sorry about that. So that's the first 2 bits of housekeeping. The next one is, if you want to take notes, then that's brilliant. I am recording this, and I will send the link for it over to you tomorrow morning so you can watch it again if there's anything you want to recap on. And finally, if you have any questions, you have got a little chat box. If you write things in the chat box, I see somebody's already said, "Hi Alison, very clear, thank you," excellent. If you write things in the chat box, I'll keep an eye on that, and I'll do my best to answer your questions as we go along. So let's get this thing started properly now. Right, welcome. Thank you very much for giving up your time to come along this evening. During this training class, I'm going to talk a little bit about why it's time for you to write that book, the book that's been in your head for years and years and years and just hasn't made its way out yet. So the agenda for this evening is a little bit about me first, just to tell you who I am and where I've come from and why I'm doing this now. Then we'll talk about why your unique story matters, how telling your story will benefit other people, why writing a book will make you an expert, what to expect from life after you become a published author, how to plan and write your book in less than an hour a day, and there'll also be time for your questions and answers. Well, your questions and my answers, hopefully. And then right at the end, I'll tell you just a little bit about what I do and the gift that I promised on the squeeze on the sales page for this. So I hope that all makes sense. I'm just going to shut the door and keep the cats out. Pretty unprofessional having cats in the house, sorry about that. Okay, so a little bit about me. This is me, I'm Alison Thompson. I live in Oxfordshire with my partner Steve and my 2 children, Katie and Dan. And since 2009 I've run my own business. It's called The Proof Fairy, and I offer services mainly to authors, things like proofreading, editing, formatting, cover design, and also book coaching and mentoring. I got very frustrated because I used to get authors send me their manuscripts for me to proofread, and every time I'd be reading someone else's book, I'd be sitting there thinking, you know what, I can write, I should be doing this, I should be writing a book. And so last year, November the year before last actually, I decided to write a book, and it was about my son who has ADHD and about raising a child with special needs. Oh, someone's just said I'm a bit muffled. Am I muffled to everyone? I hope not. I hope you can still hear me clearly. So I wrote my book, The Boy from Hell, and it's been a really exciting journey from there. So one of the things I've started doing is helping other people write books, because I've got so much out of the experience that I really want to share my knowledge and my experience with other people so that they can get the same benefits that I've had. So that's just a little bit about me, where I've come from, and why I'm doing this now. So first of all, why does your story matter? Quite often people tell me that they would like to write a book, but they just don't think they've got anything to say, or they don't think other people will be interested in what they've got to say. When it comes down to it, I think what they're really saying, even though they won't admit it to themselves, is that they don't see themselves as having any value. They don't think they've got anything to say, and they don't think they or their story matters. Now that might sound quite controversial, but I think I can say that because that is exactly how I felt. Every time I thought about writing a book, the little voices in my head would say, why are you going to do that? What's the point? Who's going to listen to you? Why does anyone care what you've got to say? But the incredible thing about us human beings is that we're all unique and we all matter. Everything you've been through in your life, whether it's positive or negative, has played its part in shaping the you that you are today. It could be that you've travelled the world and seen amazing places, or perhaps you've started a successful business, or maybe you've flirted with fame and you've had your 15 minutes in the spotlight. You might have invented something, or started some sort of revolution, or dealt with death, divorce, disability, any of the challenges that we face in our lives. Or you could be like the majority of us, you could be plodding along, taking on everything that life throws at you, and coming out the other side smiling most of the time. Whatever you've been through in your life, however desperate or challenging or mundane, you've got through it. You must have done, because you're here now. And along the way you've picked up skills and experience and knowledge that you can pass on to other people who are in a similar situation to help them get through their situations. And that's why your story matters. Your story is unique to you, but actually there are very few things in life that are unique. We've all been through illness, divorce, moving house, giving birth, bereavement, financial difficulties. Or if you haven't, you know somebody who has. We all encounter these things, and reading about how other people have got through those challenges can be a huge source of support and comfort. Your story can help other people overcome adversity, take on new challenges, or just aspire to get a bit more out of life. And simply knowing that you've been there and you've done it, and you've lived to tell the tale, will inspire other people to follow in your footsteps. So don't for a minute think that you've got nothing to say or that nobody will be interested, because you have, and they will, because your story really does matter. Now, I touched on it for a minute there, but when you share your story, you help yourself, because it can be a hugely cathartic experience, especially if you've been through something really sort of challenging emotionally. It can be really cathartic to get all that stuff off your chest and onto paper. But you also help other people too. Whatever you've been through in life, you'll have picked up a wealth of tips and advice that other people can benefit from. So think about the times that your friends have asked you for advice. It doesn't matter whether it was about a relationship problem, or how to fix their car, or someone wanting to learn to knit, or anything else friends might have asked you about. They came to you because they respect your opinion, and they knew that you were the person that would be able to help them. We all reach out to other people for help. Think back to the last time you asked friends for help. You probably didn't just ask everyone. Sorry. You didn't just ask everyone. You went to the person that you knew was going to have the right knowledge or the right experience to be able to help you, because they'd been in a similar situation themselves. When we go through an experience or a challenge in life, we learn from it. We make mistakes, we try to do things in different ways, and we move on, and we hopefully succeed. And we learn to understand and manage our feelings, and also manage other people's feelings and other people's expectations. It could be that we need to deal with authorities or organisations, or learn new skills, or overcome obstacles. Everything we learn, every tiny little thing, is stored away in our brains, and we can draw on that experience the next time we're in a similar situation. Now, if you're anything like me, you probably turn to books for help. I know when my son was first diagnosed, I read everything I could about ADHD to find out what we were going to be facing. The trouble was, a lot of it was written by either Americans or doctors, and it really didn't apply to me. It wasn't relevant to me. And what I wanted was a book that was written by somebody just like me. So that's kind of why I wrote my book, so that I could help people just like me who were going through the same situation. So whatever challenges you've been through, think about all the stuff that you found useful along the way, and imagine how powerful it could be if you could share that with other people. How would it feel for you if you could use your experiences to help other people feel more hopeful, feel they're not alone, or feel that they've got the tools to handle the job. A couple of weeks after I published my book, I got an email from someone. She said, "I'm just embarking on the journey. I bought your book to see what more I could do to help my son, and I just wanted to say well done for sharing your experience. You've inspired me to fight for the support my lovely boy deserves. Thank you very much, you're a star." And that was amazing. I thought, this is exactly what I wanted to do with this book. I wanted to be helping people like that. I've had some other great feedback on Amazon, people saying things like, "I feel less alone for reading your story. It's a book that makes you feel you're not alone. I'm positive there's light at the end of the tunnel. Hopefully I see my son through different eyes now." And feedback like that means more to me than all the royalty checks in the world. And I really want to help you write your story and get the same kind of feedback because you've helped people in difficult situations. So that's a bit about why your story matters and how you can use it to help other people. Are there any questions at this point? Everyone still able to hear me okay? Yeah, hear me fine. That's good. I'll take it there's no questions, so it must all make sense. Thank you very much. I'm doing ace. Thank you. So, the thing that surprised me most about writing my book was that it somehow gave me expert status. I got a message from someone on Facebook who said, "I know you're not a doctor, but you are an expert on ADHD." And I kind of thought, whoa, hang on a minute. I'm not an expert. I'm just a mum. But that's the thing. Yes, I'm just a mum, but I'm a mum who wrote a book. And for some reason, that act of writing a book makes all the difference. It changes the way people see you. So somehow the act of taking all the stuff in your head and committing it to paper and then sharing that paper with other people will make you an expert. In fact, you probably don't know a great deal more than lots of other people. But once you write a book about it, that just changes people's perception of you and they see you as an expert. And once you gain that expert status, whether you feel like you deserve it or not, you'll find that amazing things start to happen to you. I actually fought against that expert tag. I think I was quite scared to accept the fact that I was this expert. I think the thing was that I didn't feel like an expert, so I thought that if I acknowledged that I was, or I let other people think I was, I'd be a fraud, a fake, and people would find me out one day. But then somebody said to me, all you need to do to be an expert is on the next page of the book. And that actually makes a great deal of sense. While I was writing my book, I did a lot of research on ADHD, so I probably do know a little bit more than most other parents. And since the book's been published, I've carried on doing research and I've kept up to date on the latest reports and the latest information that's coming out. So as long as I'm kind of a little bit ahead of everybody else, then I am the expert, I guess, whether I want to be one or not. So what happens when you embrace that expert status? I love this picture. When I was close to finishing my book, one of my clients, who was on her second book at the time, said to me, "Once your book is out, be prepared for your life to change completely." I laughed. I thought, okay, yes, I'm going to be a published author, but how is that going to change my life? Probably my mum will be the only person who will buy my book. I couldn't see that making any difference to anything, really. But of course that client was right, because my life has changed completely in some ways. Over the last 9 months, I've sold over 750 copies of the book. I've been on local radio and on BBC 5 Live. I've done half a dozen author talks at local libraries. I've spoken at 2 specialist ADHD conferences, and I've been the opening speaker at 2 other charity events. I've had some coverage in local press, and I was commissioned to write articles for a specialist magazine. I'm not saying all this to brag, just to let you know about the opportunities that come about. I was a guest speaker at a literary festival, and it's changed my business entirely because I've gone from just doing proofreading to helping people write books. And I'm also in the process of setting up a separate business to focus on speaking to people about ADHD. And the reason for this picture here, I had breakfast with Olympic silver medalist and Strictly Come Dancing winner Lewis Smith. If you don't believe me, there's the evidence. This was for a Channel 5 programme that was on earlier this month about ADHD. And Lewis Smith and the film crew came round to my house and they talked to me and my son. And all this came about because of this little book that I thought only my mum would want to read. Now, it could be that you don't want to achieve anything more than getting your book written and published. And that's absolutely fine. If that's all you want to do, that's brilliant. But if you want more from it, then go into the whole experience with an open mind, because
you will see there are opportunities, you will get asked to do things, your expert status will open up doors to you. And be brave. I've always hated public speaking. It absolutely made me cringe, my stomach would churn, and I hated it. But standing on stage in front of 120 medical and educational professionals in October, telling them my story, was the most amazing feeling. It was one of the highlights of my year. And it's something that I definitely want to do again and again. And of course, there's always the simple fact that I can tell people I'm a published author, which still makes me smile now. So I hope that's whetted your appetite a little bit for the great benefits that you can get from writing a book. Before we move on, has anyone got any questions? Everybody's very quiet. No? I'm going to take it that there are no questions at this stage. Okay. So, hang on, I have just got a question. Weren't you scared about being on TV, says Sarah? Yeah, do I look scared in the photo? I was pretty scared. It was quite an alarming process, especially as they were there for 3 hours and we were only actually on television for 2 minutes. And I must have made so many cups of tea and so many slices of toast during that 3 hours. But it was brilliant. It was great fun. So, the thing is, don't be scared of anything that comes your way. Whatever opportunities writing a book throws at you, grab them and take them, because it's a great, great ride. It's great fun. So now we're going to have a quick look at the stages of writing and publishing a book. This is the kind of nitty-gritty. There are 5 stages to writing and publishing your book: planning, writing, editing, formatting, and promoting. They're all important, but I think the planning stage is probably the one that is the most important to get right, because once you've got a good plan, then you'll find the whole writing process is much easier. Often the biggest obstacle that people have is deciding what to write about in the first place. I have a secret formula to help you with that. Here it comes. What to write about. Something you're passionate about, plus something you're knowledgeable about, plus something other people are interested in. That's it. That is the secret formula. So, when I say something you're passionate about, that could be some amazing hobby that you could talk about for hours, or a place that you've travelled to that you absolutely love. But it's more likely that it's going to be a cause that you're passionate about that's related to something that you've experienced personally. So that could be recovering from a certain illness, or working overseas, or surviving divorce, or organising a particular event, something like that. What's key here is that it's something that you have a personal interest in. Of course, you can write books about something you've got no interest in whatsoever. We all write stuff that we're not interested in every day, as part of work, writing reports and things. But if you do that with your book, your lack of interest will shine through, and you won't have the motivation you need to get the book written. It's not a short process, and you need to keep motivated. You need to keep being interested in your project to be able to finish it. So passion, or at least interest in your topic, is the first thing you need. The next thing you need is some knowledge. Now, I could probably go away and write a book about fly fishing if I wanted to. I know absolutely nothing about it, and actually I'm not interested in it either. But I could probably go and do lots of research, and I could cobble something together. But especially with your first book, having to research the subject from the ground up is a massive task. And I think by the time I've done all that research, I'll probably find that actually I've completely lost all enthusiasm for writing in the first place. Whereas I like going to auctions. I go to auctions a lot at weekends, and I know quite a bit about the auction process. So if I decided to write a book about buying things at auction, that would be a much easier project to take on. I'd still have to do some research because I don't know everything, but I've got enough knowledge to get me started, and I've got the interest there as well. So look at the topics that you have some knowledge in as well as an interest. And finally, you need to write about a topic that other people will be interested in, because otherwise it really will just be your mum that buys the book. But actually, this is the easiest one to do. I don't think there's a single topic in the whole world that would only have one person that was interested in it. However niche the subject, there will be people out there who are interested in reading what you've got to say about it. And in fact, the more niche the subject, the more successful your book is likely to be. Take depression, for example. You could write a book about depression, but it's a huge subject. There are hundreds of books out there already. So you're going to be competing with a lot of other authors to get your book read. But if you wrote about postnatal depression and second-time mums, That's quite a niche topic, but the chances are there aren't any other books out there like that, and you're going to have a smaller audience for it, but those people are going to be much more desperate to get their hands on the information. So it's going to have a much better chance of success. So don't worry about people being interested, because there always will be people interested, but try and think niche. Try and fine-tune your topic into something a bit more sort of exclusive, rather than trying to cover everything. So that's the planning stage. So that's finding your topic. And once you've got your topic sorted out, having a solid plan in place is the next most important thing. If you've ever sat down to write and stared at the blank page and not known what to write, you'll know where I'm coming from here. When you work out what your topic is, and what your subtopics are, and what you want to cover in each chapter, you'll find it's much easier to actually write, because you know exactly where you're going with it. And you'll find the writing process more enjoyable too, because when you know what you're writing about, you can let the words flow. You don't have to keep stopping and starting and trying to think what comes next. Planning is just as important with fiction as it is with non-fiction. In fact, it might even be more important. Knowing where your story begins and where your story ends, and the key events that are going to happen along the way, the timeline of events, is at the absolute minimum that you need to do for writing fiction. It's also useful to write CVs for your characters, not only so that you can keep them consistent, but so that you can actually flesh them out as fully formed characters, rather than sort of one-dimensional people. One of the questions people often ask me about writing a book is how long it needs to be. And that's kind of the old piece of string question. Your book will find its own length. It will be as long as it needs to be. My own book is 35,000 words long, and that feels like the right size for me. My clients have written books between 15,000 and 90,000 words, and strangely, each one feels like it's the right size for the book that they've written. So don't get too hung up on word counts or how many pages you've written, because your book will find its natural place. Once you've written your book, you need to edit it, and that involves reading it through at least twice and looking for inconsistencies, bits that need clarifying, clunky text, omissions, irrelevancies, and spelling and grammar and punctuation mistakes. It's also useful to use beta readers. These are people who will read an early draft of your book and then give you good feedback on what you can do to improve it. You don't just want to ask your mum or your best friend, because they'll say, yeah, it's really good, it's really good. What you want is people who will rip it apart. It's painful, but people who will rip it apart and tell you what you need to do to make it better. That can be really helpful. When you're finished with your book, you need to get it ready for publication, and formatting depends an awful lot on the publishing route that you've chosen to go through. There's basically three ways you can go. You can go for a traditional publishing deal. If you want to do that, you need to have a very thick skin and a lot of patience, because you could well find that you send off lots and lots of letters to lots of publishers and get lots of rejection letters back. There are lots of benefits from having a traditional publishing deal. For a start, a lot of people still think that it's the only real way of getting a book published, that it has a lot more credibility than self-publishing. You'll get your book in high street shops as well as on Amazon, and the publisher might offer to help you with promoting it as well, although not necessarily. The downsides are that you might lose control of how your book is promoted, or even how it looks. I've heard of authors who have been given cover designs that they absolutely hated for their book, but they couldn't do anything about it. That was what the publisher wanted. You can also earn very, very small royalties. For example, you might earn as little as 7% per book. So on a £10 book, you'd be earning about 70 pence, which isn't brilliant. So self-publishing has become one of the easiest and most popular ways of publishing your book. There are lots of ways you can do it, from organising a short print run with a local printer to using services like CreateSpace and Lulu to print on demand and distribute your books for you. The disadvantage is that you have to do all the organising yourself. You have to format it, design it, promote it yourself. The advantages are that you can get it on sale very quickly. It doesn't cost you a lot, or in some cases it can be free to get your book actually uploaded in the sale. You can order at bulk cost, you're in complete control of the whole process, and you earn up to 35% on each copy, so that's $3.50 on the 10, which is quite a difference. Finally, there's digital publishing, ebooks, and Amazon leads the way here with the Kindle, but you can also publish for iBooks and Nook and Sony eReader. The same rules tend to apply here as with self-publishing. You need to do all the promotion, formatting, etc. yourself, but you can earn up to 70% on each book, so £7 if your book was selling for £10, and the setup costs are very small. So choosing your publishing route is a big issue. The one you choose will dictate what you need to do in terms of formatting and cover design, and also in terms of promoting your book. So it's which is obviously the final stage of the process, and not what I'm going to talk about today. So finally, how to plan and write your book in less than an hour a day. I'm a bit croaky here. Most people who want to write a book don't ever get around to it because they just don't think they have the time. But really, if you can find an hour a day, perhaps first thing in the morning, last thing at night, during your lunch break, or while the family are watching Coronation Street in EastEnders, you can get your book planned and written. In an hour, you should be able to write about 750 words quite comfortably, once you've got a plan and you know what you're writing about. Now, when you think about it, if you write every day, Monday to Sunday, for a week, you'll manage 5,250 words. So if you do that for 4 weeks, you'll have 21,000 words written. Now that is approaching a book. That's effectively a book you've written. If you just want to write Monday to Friday, then do it for 2 months and you'll have 30,000 words written. That is definitely a book. It's just a case of finding that hour and getting into the habit of writing regularly. What you might want to do is rather than doing an hour a day, is to split it into 2 or 3 writing sessions over the week. So one of my clients put aside 2 afternoons, spent 4 hours each time writing. If you really want to be a published author, if you really want to write your book, then you will find the time, I promise you. Because it doesn't take as long as you think, as long as you get into that routine. I've just spotted a question from Deborah. When you look for publishers, do you have to send a copy of your draft book or synopsis? It really depends on the publisher, Deborah, and on the type of book that you're writing. A lot of publishers will, if it's a non-fiction book, then publishers will quite often want to see your content so that they've got an overview of what the book's all about, and then a couple of chapters to give them an idea of what your writing style is like. Fiction books, it's normally a synopsis in the first 3 chapters. If you've actually finished your book, you can of course send your whole book off. But if you're looking for a traditional publishing deal, then it's well worth getting in touch with people as soon as you've got 3 or 4 chapters written, because it can be a really long process. Once you find a deal and they take you on, it can take up to 2.5, 3 years for them to actually get your book out there. So if you want to go that way, really the sooner you start contacting people, the better. I hope that helps. And thank you for the question, much appreciated. So, as there was a question, does anyone else have any questions? Is everyone still awake, or have I put you all to sleep? That'd be awful. No more questions? Oh, what about children's books? Children's books, I mean, I specialise in non-fiction rather than fiction. Children's books isn't an area that I know a huge amount about, but what I do know is children's books have been a bit of a surprise hit on Kindle, because lots of kids have tablets, so they have the Kindle app on there. And there are loads and loads of children's authors who will making a lot of money through children's books, actually. The secret seems to be to have a series of books and to have one book free, or to do regular free promotions on one book, but within the book to have links to all your other books in the series. Because if children read your first book and they really enjoy it, they'll want to read all the books in the series. And if they're only £1.50, £2 each, then it's quite easy for the parents to buy those books for the kids. You can also have children's illustrated books. They don't work so well on the Kindle devices, but on iPads, on Kindle Fires, on other tablets, and on computer screens, you get the lovely full-colour pictures. So, they do work quite well. I don't know what else I can tell you about children's books. Obviously, they're much shorter. I doubt there are many children's books that are 30,000 words. Another question here, do you have to have writing experience, or should you have studied literacy, etc., to be able to write books? I would say everybody has a story to tell, and anybody can write a book. A lot of people get hung up on the actual technicalities of writing. That's what editors are for. Some people can write really well and can write quite naturally, and some people have a really good story to tell, but the writing style isn't quite there. But if you get your words down on paper, you can always send it off to an editor who will then tidy up your writing, tidy up the work for you, and turn it into something that reads really well. So I think You don't have to have studied literacy or English or creative writing. If you've got a story to tell, just get it down on paper and let other people have a look. And then if people give you feedback as to whether they think you need somebody to straighten it out for you. I hope that helps. Great answer. This is Deborah again. I think was wondering if it would be better to send via publisher or ebook. I'll tell you a little story, actually. There's a great author who is one of my clients called Peter Jones. And Peter Jones wrote a book 2 or 3 years ago called How to Do Everything and Be Happy. It's a really, really lovely self-help book written by a typical British bloke, very easy read, very conversational. And he originally published the book he published it as a Kindle book, as an ebook. And then he used Amazon's Create Space service and had it as a paperback book. And it did pretty well. Pretty well in that he was earning about £1,500 a month on this book. It was picked up by HarperCollins, one of the biggest publishing companies. They offered to reprint the book, republish the book under their label, and they also commissioned him to write 2 more books. So he's gone from being an independent self-publishing author to an author who's now got a traditional publishing deal. I've actually done an interview with him, which I'm going to be releasing quite soon. So if anyone's interested in that, let me know, and I can forward you the link to that once I've sorted it out. But yeah, I mean, what you can do is self-publish it first of all, and then you can still send it off to traditional publishers anyway. I don't think there's ever been an example of a traditional publisher not taking on a book just because it's been self-published. And in fact, they quite often look at books that are doing well that are self-published, because that gives them an indication of how well it will do if they take it on. I hope that's helpful. So I'm just going to stop and have a drink of water here. How expensive is it to self-publish? Another great question. It depends which route you go. I publish my books via Amazon Create Space. Now, the brilliant thing with Create Space is you can upload your book to their website for free. They will put it on the Amazon website for free, and the way it works is when somebody buys a book on Amazon, Amazon will print 1 copy of the book and post it off to them. So effectively there are no upfront costs at all. Where you do have to spend money on is actually getting your book ready beforehand. So you need to make sure that you've had it proofread. That's really, really important. You need to make sure that you have somebody lay it out properly so it looks like a proper book. You need to get a decent cover put together. There are some awful examples of homemade covers out there. So those 3 things are the things that you really need to spend some money on to get your book looking professional. Once you've got the file and it's in the right sort of format, it actually doesn't cost anything to upload it to Amazon for them to publish it. And then you can buy copies at trade price, so maybe £2, £3, £4 a copy, and sell it on Amazon for as much as you want to sell it for, and you get about 35% of the royalties on every copy sold. So no, self-publishing itself isn't expensive, but you do need to do certain things to get your book in good shape beforehand. So thank you for those questions. That everybody's responding, it means that I've obviously said something that's got you thinking, hopefully. So I have a question for you now. Are you ready to write that book? I've got another little poll now. I just want to see how opinions have changed. So if you voted on the poll earlier, there's another poll coming up here. And yeah, if you just give me your answer there, let's see if things have changed at all. 7%, 71%, waiting for 86%. Yeah. Someone else? People not voted yet? 100%. Right, do you want to see these results? This is very interesting. I don't know if you remember before, but the first time round it was 78% said they didn't know where to start. So I'll show you this now. This is good. 57% feeling more confident about it, 14% raring to go. Excellent. Some little things make me very happy. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit now about how I work with people, how I help people, and how I could maybe help you. So one of the things I do is work as a book coach, but I don't really think book coach describes what I do very accurately. So I actually fulfill 5 roles. First of all, I'm a cheerleader, so I cheer my clients along. I help them celebrate your successes. I'm an advisor. I can help you find information. I can answer your questions. I've got a lot of knowledge about publishing and writing that I can pass on to you. I'm your accountability buddy, your taskmaster. I can help you set goals and make you accountable to them to make you actually get that book written. I'm also a reviewer. I can read your writing and give you critical feedback on how you can improve it. Finally, anyone remember this guy? I am your Mr. Motivator. When the going gets tough, I'll be there to help you get through it and to get to the end. One of my coaching clients said to me, I finished it. Well, the first draft anyway. I've shed a tear and know there's still a way to go. Anyway, I just wanted to acknowledge at this point that A, I did it, B, I couldn't and wouldn't have done it without you. A lot of people can go off and write on their own, but a lot more people, oh, I'm so sorry, thank you. Still on the poll slide, you missed all my lovely pictures. I did that in practice as well. There you go. Mr. Motivator in his full glory. Thank you for pointing it out to me, whoever that was. I really appreciate that. Yeah, a lot of people can write books on their own. A lot of other people just need that boost, need that helping hand to get them started and to keep them going so that they get finished. So how can I help you? Well, working with a coach one-to-one can be really expensive. So I've been working hard to put together a group writing program, and I would love to share the details of it with you now. It's called the Write That Book online writing program, and if you join the program, I guarantee that you will get your book written and published in 6 months. It starts in February, and it provides you with everything that you need to write and publish your book in 6 months, and in under an hour a day for writing time. I know a lot of people will go away from this webinar now and will get on with writing their book without any help, and that's brilliant. That is fantastic. But I also know that a lot of you have thought about writing a book for a long time, and if it hasn't happened yet, what's changed? What's going to be the thing that motivates you to get it written? That's where this online program will help you. We have a source of information and advice, an element of goal setting and accountability, and support whenever you need it. It's a lot easier to get started and to get finished. And of course, you'll have people with you who'll be able to celebrate your successes and celebrate with you when you publish your book. So what do you get when you join the Write That Book program? You get 12 fortnightly webinars focusing on different areas of the writing and publishing process, and also answers to your questions. You get fortnightly goals set during the webinar to keep you accountable. Help and support on every step of the writing journey. Tips and advice on everything from planning to publishing to promoting your book. Worksheets to help you plan and write and promote your book. And checklists to ensure that you've covered everything in the process. You also get lifelong membership to an exclusive Facebook group. As long as Facebook exists, you'll be a member of this group. And it means that if you go on to write books 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, you can always come back to the group and to get feedback from people and advice and stay in touch with people that way. There'll be some surprise bonuses along the way, and there's also the option of one-to-one coaching calls at a discounted price. So what will you achieve when you join the program? Well, as well as making new friends and learning a lot about the writing and publishing process, at the end of the 6 months you will have a book ready for publication, and you'll finally be able to call yourself a published author. In fact, I guarantee that if you attend all the webinars and you meet the goals that we set, you will have a book ready for publication for your money back. I can't say fair. So while this isn't a one-to-one coaching program, I do want to be able to give everyone in the program individual attention during the webinars, so places are strictly limited to 12. The normal cost of this program, as advertised on my website, thefoodfairy.com, is £597. I've got 12 places available for just £397, and you can even pay that in 4 monthly instalments if you want. I'm doing that price because you've given it an hour of your time tonight to come and listen to me waffle on and humour me, so it's the least I can do. Plus, the first 5 people to book a place will also get a free one-to-one coaching call with me at any time during the 6 months. So if you are struggling with your planning, or if you hit writer's block, or if you want to talk about different publishing options, you can just pick up the phone and talk to me, and we can talk through wherever you are and get you moved on. So to summarise, the Write That Book online writing program gives you everything you need to write your book in 6 months. Together we'll work through the 5 stages involved in writing a book: planning, writing, editing, formatting and promoting. You'll be invited to attend webinars every fortnight where we'll focus on a different topic. We'll set goals, report back on your progress and ask any burning questions you have. You'll receive work lists and worksheets and checklists to help you plan and write and publish your book. And you'll have ongoing support from me and the rest of the people on the program via a Facebook group. Now, if you want to join the program, all you have to do is go to writethatbook.co.uk, where you'll find all the information you need. I know that that's the link you went to register for this webinar, but by the powers of magic, I've changed the page so that it's now all about the writing programme. Be quick, because remember that there are only 12 places available, and the bonus coaching call is only available for the first 5 people to book. Finally, I promised you a gift for coming along to this webinar. It's a free checklist that will take you through the first part of writing your book, planning stage. The checklist is the first of a number of checklists that you will get when you join the programme. Even this first list will look quite daunting. There's a lot on it. But remember, if you join the programme, then I will be there to take you through everything on the list and to offer you all the help and support that you need. To pick up your free gift, again, just go to the address on screen, www.writhatbook.co.uk. If you scroll to the bottom of the page, you will find the download link. And don't forget that if you want to book your place in the programme, sign up quickly to guarantee your place, because there are only 12, £397, and that includes everything you need. So I'm afraid that brings us to the end of the training session. If anyone has any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. But I do just want to say, everyone has a book in them. What's your story? Any questions? Otherwise, I will free you all up to go and drink wine and enjoy the rest of Thursday evening. Well, thank you very much for coming along tonight. I really appreciate you taking the time. I do hope that some of you will come along and join the programme, because I really, really want to help you write your book, get your story out there, and reap all the wonderful benefits. But if there aren't any questions, I will sign out and say goodbye. Thank you very much.